Hey, it's your friend Jay. Good to see you again. And if you're new here, welcome. This is your corner of internet for real tarot people, the collectors, the readers, and anyone who loves to discover decks that you really resonate with. With the help of Dr. Courtney here, who still insists that this video is just an elaborate excuse to buy more boxes for him to sit on.
More boxes, more comfort. Keep buying decks. It is the only useful thing you do.
And today I have a special surprise for you. I went through the last couple of years of published decks and I realized that I haven't reviewed a lot of really good ones. And in this video I'll be sharing this with you. Each one of them have something special and interesting about it, and I can't wait to show all of them to you. Let's have a look at this together. Alright, starting from the Haindl Tarot. This deck was created by Hermann Haindl, a German artist, and was released in 2002. Quite an interesting deck. So this is the US Games release. And this deck is this combination of different cultures. Now, the white book is nothing to write home about, really. It's okay, but the artwork, that's what makes it really outstanding. So this has a mix of different mythologies together, like this one you see right now. This is more of the Egyptian, and then they morph into something else. And this is Native American, and this got also a mystical symbolism here. You can see different astrology symbols or some of the Hebrew alphabet symbols as well. And this is a really deep deck. Also, if the artwork reminds you of something, well, it is because it's very similar in designs to Carl Rohrig Tarot. And it's quite striking, the same usage of these mystical symbols, the artwork a little bit collage-like. And it's surprising that both of these artists are actually from Germany. Well, Carl Rohrig was born in Munich. And here we go, we got this little pieces of paper flying everywhere again. And he moved to Switzerland, where Haindl was originally from Germany, and he remained a German artist. Let me show you some of the cards that I really like in this deck, and we'll talk about who this deck is for. And picking favorites is incredibly difficult with this deck, but I'll try anyway. So the star is very iconic look here. It's more like a weeping willow, sort of a tree resemblance here, but they still have a symbol of hope here. Aeon is replacing the Judgment card here. The universe is obviously the world, quite a unique take here, and all of it is unique, by the way. The tower, you see the resemblance here, but it also looks like 9/11 perhaps, or something a bit more modern. Oh, and I did mention that there's a lot of Egyptian and Hindu symbolism here, so it's one of my favorite cards here. It's King of Swords. Also, yes, this is more of a Hinduism goddess. What I like about this deck as well, it uses the name or theme of a card and then the name of a card at the bottom, and I quite like it. It makes reading is easy. Also reminds me of, again, the Rohrig Tarot quite a lot, because he uses the same structure and symbolism. Now, stones is the pentacles, are pentacles in this card. Also notice this seemingly I Ching looking from a Chinese mythology, the symbol that explains the structure of the world and many other things. And you can call minor arcana cards a little bit peepish, but they're not really that. I would say that a lot of effort went into each one of his cards, and this slightly subtle meaning of a card also embedded there, and you can tell it, but it's almost subliminal, if you know what I mean. Let me show you the code cards of the the cup suit, and you'll get an idea what that looks like. And we'll talk about who this deck is for. Remember I mentioned that the little white guidebook is nothing to talk about really. There is a book written by Rachel Pollock specifically dedicated to this deck, and I haven't seen it. I only know that it exists, and I'm gonna say that without even seeing the book, there's a lot of hidden symbolism in this deck, and this is what it's really for. I think this is for somewhat experienced tarot readers who want to explore. It feels to me like a very meditative and subtle deck. It opens up a lot of possibilities for someone who likes to do intuitive reading. And of course, only if the artwork resonates with you. If it's your cup of tea, if you like this subtlety and a lot of detail, you like to contemplate on your cards and you want to dive into some magical and mythological symbols and characters, this is definitely one of those decks that will give you a lot of room to grow and explore. The next gem on the list is a Curious Travel deck, and this is created by Amelia Rozear and was released last year. Somehow I missed it, so here we are. As the name suggests, this deck is about travel, but not really a travel to another country or your favorite island for a holiday. This is travel in your inner world. It's an exploration of who you are as a person. It's 79 cards and very, very, very modern design. I loved everything from the packaging with this gold engraved letters. Beautiful, beautiful guidebook, full color, and it's quite nice print as well. And of course, it's the cards that I'm most excited about. So on the back, you've got this lunar pattern, I would say, with two crowns. And, well, the artwork. You've got a frame around here and the number of a card. And really, really modern, beautiful design. What I do like about this deck, this was answering to one of your comments, I'm a bit of a magpie when it comes to decks. If it's flashy, shiny, it's got some golden gilding, but not too much of it too, this is definitely going to end up in my collection. And there's going to be another deck coming in this video that falls into that category. So artwork, well, it picks a symbolic meaning from Rider Waite Smith. It is Rider Waite Smith's best deck, and replaces some characters and keeps some others. Like here you got the famous Four of Coins card, which is very similar, but a bit of a modern look. A whole bunch of people chasing this person or admiring them perhaps because they're walking on a catwalk, and they are doing exactly the same thing. They're center of attention, they got everything, or from a wealth perspective, and they're holding on to it really hard. And similar with Five of Pentacles, it's a reimagining of a traditional Rider Waite Smith with golden highlights and a different take on this meaning. Let me show you some of my favorite cards in this deck, and we'll talk about who it's for. Now, Curious Travels doesn't take an easy route with the deck. It's Rider Waite Smith deck, but it's completely reimagined, which I really like about it. It's not just a clone. Like from Ten of Pentacles here, the Traveler card is completely new. Look at this golden highlight. And this is an additional card. And so you've got 79 cards here. Look at this example, Judgment, right? Similar idea, people and this eye looking at them, and this is kind of a transformation, it's kind of a rebirth, it's kind of the karmic wheel turning, right? And you can definitely see it here. It doesn't take away from a traditional meaning. Seven of Pentacles, look at that. You still have this harvest here, but it has also fireworks. It's an indication of something big growing, right? So this is the flowers and also a success of someone who worked really hard. Three of Pentacles, I don't think it needs an introduction. Beautiful, beautiful dolphins circle here. The sun, remember those motifs we just showed you with the fireworks, very similar thing here. Now it's not a child here, it's more like a girl riding a horse, but it's nevertheless peaceful. It looks like a happiness card to me. I'm going to show you the cup suit quote cards. Driven from here again, highlights. Now I also like how this deck does use animals together with humans. Like if a page here is a person, the knight, I would say like an alien looking creature. I'm not sure what that is. The queen and the king are seemingly fish that feeling really comfortable in water. But look at the progression here, right? You're sort of seeing that the pages and knights getting deeper in the water, where queen and the king, they are the water, right? Quite cool. So I think Curious Travels is a beautiful deck for anyone, really. If you a seasoned tarot reader, you will enjoy working with it. If you someone who is venturing out, I think it's a very friendly and novel and refreshing way to start working with tarot. And the presentation, the packaging, the book, you've got everything here to start reading. And I think it's a lot of joy to work with this deck. Definitely one of the most beautiful decks I'm going to have in my collection now. If you have seen my reading videos, you know I'm normally don't use reverse cards because I think that 78 scenarios presented with the major minor arcana is enough to read energies and predictions. We also have positions as well, like a challenge or an obstacle will represent a reverse card. But with this deck, you can actually make the whole process a little bit easier if you do use reverse cards. This is deck created by Pierluca Zicchi and Michel D'Aloisio. Probably didn't pronounce it correctly, and I apologize for that. And published by Los Scarabeo. Beautiful deck, and you'll figure out in a second why it's called this. Let's look at that. Our hermit turns into this kind of ghostly looking figure, and similarly here is a complete transformation of the of an empress. And this is what we're going to see on these cards, as you probably figured out. You've got the guidebook here, which is pretty good, but also standard, I would say, for Los Scarabeo, but we're here for the cards, right? And this is exactly what the deck looks like. First of all, it's Rider Waite Smith deck. It's a refreshed Rider Waite Smith based imagery. So you're not going to find father and son fishing on the Six of Cups card in Rider Waite Smith deck. So it's a reimagining. But what you probably noticed on each one of these cards, there is a reverse meaning. So if a Nine of Cups character is generally representing a wish coming true, there's also an opposite here, which is overindulgence and not enjoying what they have in their possession. And this basically goes for each one of his cards here. Let me show you some major arcana cards that probably represent it a little bit better. Looking at Fool here, he's about to jump off a cliff in what you would normally see in the upright meaning. And on the back of it here, it's almost like he's running away from a change and he's going to fall, but not because he wants to make a jump, but because he's scared. Similar with the magician, who is powerful and can create anything in the world. Here, the magician seemingly doesn't respect his gifts or manufacturing or manifesting really something that is crooked and using his gifts for something that isn't helping the world or himself or herself. And each card is basically this. Now, how is it useful? When you're doing reverse readings, you pull a card and you immediately see the meaning right away. You don't have to interpret it in your own head. But also, it can give you an example. Sometimes when I look at it, reverse meanings, they don't necessarily the exact opposite of the upright meaning. Sometimes they have some nuances. And what I found myself doing when I started using this deck is looking at the reverse meaning written, painted here, and trying to figure out what that meaning is. And I find it quite useful. But also the fact that it's a Rider Waite Smith deck, but reimagined, it just adds this extra layer. Now, who is it for? Anyone, really. If you're a beginner, want to learn reverse meanings, and you like to learn visually rather than reading books, this is it here. If you're an experienced reader, you may enjoy the refreshed novelty, refreshed Rider Waite Smith imagery, and find new meanings here. And if you like to have fun with your tarot decks, this is definitely one of those good examples where it's happening here almost naturally. It's a beautiful deck. I definitely I'm looking forward to work with it, and I can recommend it to someone who likes an alternative take on the traditional Rider Waite Smith structure. The next deck is also sits in this cool category, but also this is not a new concept, but it's a different take. So Erenberg Tarot was created by Steve Erenberg and was initially released in 2022, I want to say, but then it got picked up by US Games, and what we see in here is the mass production version of this deck, 2023. Here you go, I was close. So what is it? Well, it comes with a nice guidebook here, but the real cool thing about it is actual cards. On the back you've got this sort of muted palette, and the cards, well, it's a very close-up image of Rider Waite Smith deck with its own take on it. If you know Rider Waite Smith deck, you'll recognize some very strong elements of it. Sometimes it's emphasized, like here you got the Queen of Wands, the cat, the Queen and the Wand being there prominently. Same with King of Wands. If you look, somehow this reminds me of Dr. Phil. I don't know, do you think it's the same? The eyes look very suspicious. I think he was probably the inspiration for this card. If you look very closely and you're familiar with Rider Waite Smith, you're going to have a lot of fun with this deck. If you like vintage decks, the Erenberg Tarot definitely draws inspiration from some of them. Like this is Morgan Gray Tarot here, and this is the Aquarian Tarot. And you will see that there's some similarities, very subtle ones, in the way the cards are designed. The Erenberg is probably a bit more closer to the scene comparing to the other two, but nevertheless, there's some similarities. Like Morgan Greer will give you something like this for the Nine of Swords, right? And I think our friend Erenberg Tarot here does something similar. Very similar with close-up of the cold cards. And yeah, I find that these are very similar. It's almost like Erenberg Tarot reimagined that idea and then took it a little bit further, literally. So what you see here is these characters are really zoomed in. Now, who is this for? Rider Waite Smith lovers. If you like your classic decks, this is definitely there. I also like how, while it's zoomed in, it still has a little finer detail on the card. So it never means basic or simplified. It's zoomed in, but the richness of the meaning is still there. If you want to learn Rider Waite Smith from this deck, I would say it's probably difficult because it's really an inspiration. It's almost like a meta version of the Rider Waite Smith deck. But if you do know your Rider Waite Smith deck, you're definitely going to have a lot of fun with it because the symbolism here is quite unique. Like Wheel of Fortune here, it's got the amusement park with circus type of wheel here, or actually maybe even roulette. And there's little subtlety of some of the modern meanings here, and some just outright Rider Waite Smith elements being blown up on a smaller card. So definitely very interesting take, and because it kind of zooms in and out. Like here, the tower is a proper tower. It hasn't been zoomed in, but then you go to the star, you see the literal star, and it's also a playful deck. You can see here's a little UFO flying around there. So it's also fun. It's not that serious. Now, if I was to review this deck today, I would give it 5 out of 5 paws on the cat meter. You really come across a deck that just meets all of your expectations and continues to amaze you after you've been working with it for a while. And this is one of them. So this is the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. And I think there is a non-golden version. I definitely like the golden version more. And this is created by Julia Massaglia, who also created Egyptian Tarot and another deck that I reviewed recently on my channel. If you haven't seen that video, you should check it out. So this is the Fairy Tale Tarot that I reviewed recently. And if you see anything with Julia and you like the artwork, you should get that deck immediately. She's just one of those artists who's got just a beautiful style that resonates well with a lot of people, myself included. But this is not the theme of today's video, so we're going to look at the Golden Art Nouveau. If you want to check out the Fairy Tale Tarot, please do that. I'll left the link for you there on the screen. So what is Golden Art Nouveau Tarot? Well, it is a Rider Waite Smith, I want to say clone, but probably Rider Waite Smith inspired, but really it is Rider Waite Smith deck, exactly the same, just with different artwork. I like how the little white book here is actually has a bit of color in it. Just kind of adds a bit of a value or perceived value for me. It's absolutely essential, and if you read with Rider Waite Smith, you will know this deck in and out. And if you don't, you read tarot yet and you want to get into Rider Waite Smith, this could be a good deck to start with. It ticks all the boxes for me. It's got beautiful design from Julia. It follows the traditional Rider Waite Smith meaning very closely. It pretty much doesn't deviate from it, but it creates this really nice, almost 3D-like style image here. And of course, it's got golden highlight, which I like a lot. Now, I don't really feel this is, to me, an Art Nouveau style. I just think it's quite a unique Julia style that comes with this deck. Nevertheless, it makes it beautiful. Each scene is almost like an animation or a comic book frame. And working with this deck is just such a joy. I didn't appreciate how good it was when I saw it in other reviews and on Amazon, but I can tell you this deck looks 10 times better than what you see when you browse the images, because it just doesn't really show you all the small details. Like, for instance, this golden pattern you see here, it's actually an embossed or almost like engraved, indented pattern, and it just enhances the imagery in such a different way. Each card has this beautiful patina on it. So they read like older looking images, but at the same time, it just feels so, I don't know how to describe it. To me, it feels amazing. And I know it's a cliche word, but when I got it out of the box, I just couldn't resist using it. And I love everything about this deck. The redrawing of the faces and characters has been done in such a way that it doesn't take anything away from Rider Waite Smith. In anything, it's almost feel like those characters that were sort of two-dimensional became layered with symbolism, and everything here just emphasizes the meaning of the card. And working with this is pleasure. It doesn't have gilding, which I quite like as well, because I would rather have golden images here, because that's what you're going to see when you work with the deck, not the edging. You can riffle shuffle it. It can allow you to do that because the cardstock is quite good. And just a really fun deck to work with. So who is it for? If you're reading with Rider Waite Smith and you like the artwork here, definitely get one of these. I would say that this is probably my favorite Rider Waite Smith clone that I have seen so far, and this is going to be my daily read. I also think that if you're learning Rider Waite Smith, what a good way to start. I started with the original version, or it was like second deck, and damn, we're so lucky to get this print quality and work with something like this. I can't say more. This is one of my favorite decks by far. And this is it for today's video. What did you think of this new addition to my collection? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you already have some of these decks? And I know some of you do in your collection. Let me know. Also tell me how you use them. Is it something you use daily, or is it just sitting on the shelf because you admire the artwork? If you want to see my entire collection, I left you a video link on the screen. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I cannot wait to see you again.